You can rely on alumni. A prison sentence of 12.5 years is now being served by Josh Duggar at the Federal Correctional Institution Seagoville in Dallas, Texas. CSAM was the reason for the arrest of the 37-year-old man in April of 2021. There have been numerous rumors that have surfaced alleging that Josh is being treated like a superstar while he is incarcerated and that he is having his best life out there. On the other hand, it appears that things have changed this time around, as Anna's spouse was reportedly showing signs of hunger. To find out what transpired, continue reading. Regarding the supposedly pleasant life that Josh Duggar is having behind bars, according to a source close to the situation, Josh was previously relocated to a dorm that offered a number of advantages, including appliances. After applying for a job, the former member of Counting On was reportedly sent to the dormitory, as the room was reserved exclusively for inmates who were employed by the institution. The day that Josh was detained, according to other accounts, he has been signing newspapers and giving autographs ever since he was taken into custody. It has also been observed that Josh is seen strolling around the jail grounds while wearing sunglasses and trainers, all of which are considered to be luxurious items. Because of this, rumors began to circulate that he was receiving preferential treatment. However, it appears that Josh and the other detainees experienced a setback in their situation. As a result of his time spent in prison, Josh is suffering from hunger. There have been recent allegations that have surfaced indicating that Josh Duggar is currently experiencing hunger as a result of a punishment that happened in his cell. According to the sources, the interim warden terminated the inmates' access to leisure time indefinitely when they were discovered to be in possession of contraband. It has been closed for a week, and ever since the event, the officers have been going through all of the dormitories and shaking them down. It had been reported in the past that Josh was apprehended while in possession of a contraband phone, which resulted in his receiving an additional prison sentence. Several of the detainees were dissatisfied with the decision to eliminate their time for recreation. Some even went so far as to go on a hunger strike, and among those who participated in the demonstration was Josh's dormitory. It is not clear whether the former cast member of Counting On participated in the strike. In addition, sources stated that they will continue to abstain from eating until the prison reinstates the leisure time that they are allowed to participate in every morning and afternoon. On the other hand, what kinds of recreational activities are available to inmates at Josh Duggar's prison? When it comes to recreational time, Josh and the other inmates participate in a wide variety of activities. The ability to play a variety of instruments is one of the several advantages. Not only did the former cast member of Counting On have a fantastic Thanksgiving in prison, but they also feasted on a delectable meal that included roasted turkey, caramelized gammon, and other delectable dishes. Additionally, during the Christmas season, they were provided with opportunities to participate in a variety of games. During the time that Josh Duggar is serving his sentence in prison, his wife, Anna, is left to care for their 7 children outside of the confines of the prison. There are a lot of people who are concerned about Anna, particularly when she was seen walking around last year looking like she had gained some weight. There were rumors that she was suffering from depression as a consequence of this, and many of her followers are hoping that she is receiving all of the assistance that she requires at this time. If you are looking for additional information regarding the Duggar family, you should return to Bombshell 25 for all of your updates. Josh Duggar, known for his involvement in the Duggar family's reality television show 19 Kids and Counting, has become a controversial figure in recent years due to his criminal convictions and subsequent imprisonment. He was sentenced to 12.5 years in federal prison after being found guilty of possessing and receiving child pornography in 2021. Duggar's situation has sparked a myriad of discussions, particularly regarding the circumstances of his incarceration and the challenges he may face while serving his sentence. One of the key aspects of Duggar's imprisonment that has garnered attention is the question of his physical and emotional well-being, particularly regarding reports of suffering from hunger and other hardships. In this article, we will delve into the potential for such suffering, examine the conditions that prisoners typically face, and explore how these factors might apply to Duggar's situation. In doing so, we aim to paint a comprehensive picture of what Duggar's life behind bars could be like and how his punishment may extend beyond just legal consequences. The nature of Josh Duggar's crimes and initial sentencing. Before diving into the prison conditions Josh Duggar faces, it's important to briefly review the crimes that led to his imprisonment. Duggar was convicted on charges related to child pornography, a crime that sparked widespread outrage. His conviction followed a lengthy investigation that uncovered disturbing materials on his electronic devices. As a result, he was sentenced to 12.5 years in federal prison, a sentence that reflects the severity of his crimes. Given the nature of Duggar's offense, his time in prison would likely be harsh. Child pornography offenders often face difficult conditions in prison, both because of the nature of their crimes and the general treatment such individuals receive from other inmates. In Duggar's case, the emotional and psychological toll of his imprisonment is one of the significant concerns that may accompany his sentence. Prison food, a source of hunger or nutritional struggles. Prison food is frequently a topic of debate and concern for those incarcerated. While the quality and quantity of food in prisons vary from facility to facility, it's safe to say that the majority of prisoners are subjected to meals that are often far from nutritious or satisfying. The meals typically provided are designed to be cheap and functional, but not necessarily satisfying or healthful. This reality leads to widespread dissatisfaction and frustration among prisoners. For Duggar, who was accustomed to a much different lifestyle prior to his conviction, adjusting to the prison food system could be particularly difficult. The Duggar family was known for their large gatherings and home-cooked meals, which were often part of the family's public image as devout, close-knit individuals. Josh Duggar's transition to prison food, which might include bland, processed meals and a lack of dietary variety, would likely be a stark contrast to what he was used to. While there's no official report stating that Duggar specifically suffers from hunger, it's not uncommon for inmates to experience a lack of satiety and even weight loss due to the unappetizing and insufficient meals provided in prison. Furthermore, for those like Duggar who may have particular dietary restrictions or preferences, the lack of accommodating food options could exacerbate the issue. In prison, meals are often served in fixed portions, and inmates typically have limited access to additional food unless they have funds in their commissary accounts or rely on food brought to them by family and friends. For Duggar, this could mean living with a constant sense of food scarcity, which might contribute to feelings of hunger and deprivation. Psychological and emotional stress. Hunger beyond the physical. While physical hunger is a real concern for many inmates, the psychological and emotional aspects of imprisonment can often overshadow physical discomfort. Josh Duggar, who was a public figure before his conviction, faces unique challenges in prison due to his past actions and the public backlash that followed his crimes. Inmates in federal prisons often face the challenge of adjusting to a new, highly structured environment where they are isolated from family and friends. This sense of isolation can have severe effects on an individual's mental health. For Duggar, the psychological toll could be compounded by the media attention surrounding his case and the knowledge that many of his fellow inmates are aware of the nature of his crimes. It's not uncommon for individuals convicted of child-related offenses to face bullying or violence from other inmates, who view such crimes as particularly heinous. The emotional strain of knowing that he is despised by many of his fellow inmates and perhaps even the general public could significantly exacerbate Duggar's experience behind bars. In such a high-pressure environment, the lack of adequate nutrition and other basic comforts could lead to a feeling of being completely overwhelmed and disconnected from the world outside. Prison conditions, a harsh reality. Federal prisons are designed to serve as places of punishment and rehabilitation, though the extent to which they succeed at either goal is frequently questioned. The conditions in U.S. prisons can be harsh, particularly for those who have committed high-profile crimes or crimes that are viewed as morally reprehensible by the general public. Duggar is currently housed at the FCI Seagoville in Texas, a medium-security facility that houses male inmates. The prison's conditions are standard for such facilities but are far from luxurious. Like many other federal prisons, Seagoville is overcrowded and understaffed, leading to concerns about the overall safety and well-being of the inmates. Inmates at FCI Seagoville live in dormitory-style housing with little privacy. They are required to follow strict schedules, and their daily lives are often dictated by rules and regulations. Duggar's day would likely be highly structured, with little room for personal autonomy or comfort. Given the conditions of the prison, it's likely that Duggar is experiencing a variety of physical and emotional struggles. The lack of privacy, the stress of constant surveillance, and the harsh realities of prison life could all contribute to his sense of vulnerability and deprivation. As mentioned earlier, the physical discomfort caused by hunger is a real issue for many prisoners, but Duggar's psychological suffering could be equally significant. The compounded effect of both emotional distress and physical deprivation could make his time in prison particularly difficult. The potential for violence and harassment. Prison environments can be dangerous, especially for those who are seen as weak or vulnerable. As mentioned earlier, inmates convicted of crimes involving children are often targets of violence, harassment, and social ostracism within the prison system. While it's impossible to know the specifics of Duggar's interactions with other inmates, it's reasonable to assume that he faces some degree of hostility from those around him. The emotional toll of being an outcast in such a high-pressure environment can contribute to feelings of isolation, anxiety, and even despair. Duggar may experience not only the emotional and physical consequences of hunger, but also the psychological burden of knowing that he is under constant scrutiny and that his actions are deeply unpopular with many of his fellow prisoners. The role of family and outside support. In times of hardship, inmates often rely on support from family and friends to help them navigate the challenges of prison life. In Duggar's case, his family has remained a visible presence throughout his legal proceedings and has likely continued to support him while he serves his sentence. However, the nature of their support remains a topic of debate, as Duggar's crimes have deeply affected not only his family's public image but also their personal relationships. While Duggar's family may continue to provide him with financial support for his commissary account, which would allow him to purchase additional food and other necessities, this is not the same as receiving the comforts of home. Furthermore, the emotional support that Duggar may receive from his family could be tempered by the knowledge that many members of the Duggar family have distanced themselves from him due to his criminal actions. This complex dynamic could play a significant role in Duggar's emotional experience while incarcerated. Even if his family continues to provide financial assistance, the emotional toll of being distanced from loved ones and facing the full weight of his actions could leave him feeling increasingly isolated and disconnected from the outside world. The long-term effects of prison life. Prison sentences are not just about serving time. They can also have long-lasting effects on an individual's mental and physical health. For Duggar, the suffering he may experience from hunger, emotional distress, and the harsh conditions of prison could have lasting consequences that extend beyond his time behind bars. Inmates often struggle with issues such as depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, as a result of their experiences in prison. The trauma of incarceration, combined with the emotional and psychological effects of his crimes, could lead Duggar to face years of personal challenges even after his release. A life behind bars. Josh Duggar's life behind bars is likely characterized by a combination of physical suffering, emotional distress, and psychological torment. From hunger and the harsh reality of prison food to the deeper, long-lasting effects of his incarceration, Duggar's sentence will likely be a difficult one. The isolation, harassment, and lack of basic comforts are all part of the package of consequences that come with being incarcerated for a serious crime. While it's impossible to know the exact details of Duggar's experience, it's clear that his punishment extends far beyond the legal sentence imposed by the court. For Duggar, the psychological and emotional toll of his actions may well be as harsh a punishment as the physical suffering of imprisonment.